Is it spiking when I talk?
No, it's fine.
What about when I talk loudly?
Well, yeah, it does then.
Alright.
Hello everyone, welcome to Thriving Scrubs.
Welcome back.
So, Star City Games hosted a Standard Open and a Standard Classic over the weekend.
They did.
And over this weekend we were saying that we want to see post-Etherworks Marvel, we want to see some diversity, some invention, we want Standard to be an open and exciting format.
Is it?
I would say it is. Looking at these lists, we weren't able to actually catch much of the events.
I saw bits and pieces.
I saw bits, but these deck lists are exciting, and I want to see what you think of them.
Yeah, I haven't seen these, so I'm just going in blind. I'm just relying on you to give me the lowdown of how these decks work, what's in them, and I expect you to have the knowledge of someone who's played with them.
I do not possess all of those things, but I'll do my best.
You'll give the list at least.
The winner of the Standard Open was a 4-color control deck, piloted by Michael Hamilton. Congratulations, Michael Hamilton.
Well done, Michael Hamilton. This is for you.
So this is a 4-color control deck, and it does have some surprising inclusions.
Which 4 colours?
The 4 colors that it plays are blue, black, red, and white.
Okay.
If you're looking at a 4-color or 5-color deck, typically you lean towards green.
Yeah, normally green's in there.
Because that's how you fix for colors. But
green not classically a control color.
No, and certainly not in this list. It has some numbers of Glimmer of Geniuses and Essence Scatters and Sensors and Abrades and Castouts and Negates and Supreme Wills. Here's what is interesting. 1 Torrential Gearhulk.
1?
1 in the entire 75.
Who is this guy?
The other creature...
Who does he think he is?
Well,
One Torrential Gearhulk.
It's really interesting. The other creature is Linvala the Preserver.
Okay, that's cool. It's been a while since we've seen Linvala, but that makes a lot of sense.
Those are the only creatures in the main deck. There are 3 Spell Quellers and 3 Glory Bringers in the sideboard.
I love the Glory Bringers just turning up in a control deck.
You can stick it wherever.
The card's that good. You can just put it in anything and just go, yeah, I've just got some Glory Bringers in it as well.
This deck runs 5 Planeswalkers. I'll give you 50 quid if you can tell me what all 5 of those Planeswalkers are.
5 Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Nicol Bolas.
How many Nicol Bolas?
Oh, I don't know how many. Are we talking 5 total?
5 in total. 5 cards. 5 Planeswalker cards.
5 different Planeswalkers?
Nope.
No. Okay, so Nicol Bolas.
Yep.
Nahiri.
There's a Nahiri.
Okay. We don't have green, so Nissa's not in it.
Nissa's not in it.
Nissa's not in it. Gideon's not in it, is
Gideon's not in it. There's 2 in the sideboard.
Liliana?
Majesty? I'll put you out your misery. There's 1 Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh.
Yeah.
There's 1 Nahiri the Harbinger. There's 1 Jace Unraveler of Secrets. And there are 2, count them, 2 Dovinbarn.
What?
Dovinbarn won an SCG Standard Open.
Mark Hamilton, I like you.
Michael Hamilton, but...
No, he's Mike.
So that's what's... That deck, if you're seeing a big control deck, Torrential Gearhulk you'd expect, but only 1 and then 2 Dovinbarns. So I think that's a deck you probably have to know very well and play very well.
And is the win condition now, I mean, aside from Torrential Gearhulk, I assume you're relying on just getting those Planeswalkers to ultimate.
Yeah, I mean...
broken stuff like that.
Yeah, you want to be... I mean, Nahiri can search out your Linvala. Nicol Bolas typically wins the game. You pull from tomorrow into a million cards.
Yeah.
The win conditions, it's a narrow margin. I mean, this is one of these decks where Wandering Fumarole is a legitimate win condition.
We got creature lands.
Only Wandering Fumaroles. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's an interesting list, and I'm excited by it. I'm more excited by the deck that finished 6th. We did catch a little bit of this. This was Jonathan Jobs' mono-red aggro deck.
Yeah, this deck looks pretty cool.
And primarily, I think the thing that this deck illustrates is the fact that deserts seem to be real.
Yeah. People
are playing a lot of deserts. They're turning up in a lot of different lists, and it seems that the most popular is Ramunap Ruins.
That makes sense to me.
It taps for a colorless, or you can tap it and pay 1 life to add red to your mana pool. You pay 2 and 2 red and tap it and sacrifice a desert to deal 2 damage to each opponent. It's a lot of stuff, but when it's coming from a land, and when you have, you can recur these deserts, because the mana base for this deck is 24 lands, 15 mountains, 4 Ramunap Ruins, 4 Sun-Scorched Deserts, which also ping when they enter.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they've already been seeing play in
4 of them,
decks.
yeah. And 1 Dunes of the Dead.
Which one's Dunes of the Dead?
It's the uncommon desert that taps for colourless, and when it's put into a graveyard, you create a zombie.
Why not?
Why not? It's going to happen.
I mean, yeah, particularly in this context of a monocoloured aggro deck, deserts just seem really useful.
Excellent.
Why wouldn't you run them?
Yeah, in a monocoloured deck, you can afford to give up land slots, and if you're a mono-red aggro deck, lands that deal damage to the face are just perfect.
Yeah, it's like having an extra shock in your hand.
Exactly. It turns your lands into spells, and in fact, there's no concession made using Ramunap Ruins or Sun-Scorched Desert, because this deck does not only run red spells. I'll give you the list, because this is an entirely new deck. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah. Is there an Eldrazi in here? Can I make a cheeky
You
guess
can make
that
some
we're
predictions about this deck.
I just feel like there's a reality smasher in this list. That's my guess.
Okay.
Go on. So what's going on?
Okay, so at 1 drop, we have 4 Falcon Wrathgorger.
Yep. Sure.
That makes perfect sense. It's a 2-1 for one. That's it. 4 Soulscar Mage.
Okay, yeah. So Soulscar Mage is the Amonkhet card that swaps damage for counters, basically.
Yeah. It also has
stuff.
prowess itself.
Yeah.
So it's different but similar vein to Monastery Swiftspear.
Yeah, it's like someone cosplaying as Monastery Swiftspear. That's cool and all. I get it. But,
yeah, nice try.
Yeah.
At 2, we have, just sticking to creatures, 2 Kari Zev Scarship Raiders.
I love it.
That's really nice.
Which means we've got 2 Ragavan tokens as well, surely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can just have the one, but still.
No.
I
think you have to. And 4 Earthshaker Kenras.
Which is the new one that stops things from blocking.
It's a 2-1 for 2 with haste. Eternalizes for 6. And when it enters, target creature with power less than or equal to Earthshaker Kenra's power can't block this turn. The thing about this deck, right?
Yeah.
There are 2 ways to go with mono red, I think. Because the Hanweir Garrison's brilliant.
Yeah,
and you want to be running Hanweir Garrisons.
I love Hanweir Garrison.
And then you can run Expedition, the 1-1 that gives things haste.
Oh.
Yeah?
Blood Rage, not
Blood Rage Enthusiast or something.
Yeah, the 1-drop from Amonkhet.
The thing is, there are so many Wraths and cheap removal spells now. Like, so many. Harness Lightning, Abrade, Shock.
Bontu's Last Reckoning.
Bontu's Last Reckoning. There's Radiant Flames. There's Kozilek's Return. There's Hour of Devastation. It goes on and on and on.
When you put it like that, yeah, there's a lot.
Fumigate. There's so much stuff going on right now that taking that much time and spending that many cards to get a hasty Hanweir Garrison, it's not enough. And those tokens go away with the Wrath. So instead of going down that route, this deck just runs haste creatures.
Yeah.
So 4 Earthshaker Kenras, 4 Amcrop Crashers.
Nice.
2 Eldrazi Obligators.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Another hasty creature. 2 Glorybringers. Another hasty creature. 2 Reality Smashers.
Called it.
Another hasty creature. 3 Thought-Knot Seers.
Okay.
Because, again, that's not something that an aggro deck really should have access to. Hand Disruption on a 4-4.
Yeah, 4-4 for 4 that, yeah, Thought-Knot Seer is great.
It's always been great. And then finally, 1 Hazaret the Fervent to close off our creatures.
Just the 1 Hazaret, that seems fair.
2 Chandra, 3 Magma Spray, 3 Incendiary Flow.
Which, the 4-drop Chandra from Kaladesh?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I love this deck.
Sorry, Magma Spray and...
Incendiary Flow, 3 of each.
Yeah.
This flow can hit players.
And Abrade was in the other deck, so no Abrades here.
2 in the sideboard.
Okay.
It can't hit players, and I think this deck that's what it's
you
doing.
Want to hit players. But neither can Magma Spray, so...
No, but you have to make concessions to... I think Champion of Wits has changed standard quite a bit.
Yeah.
And with opposing Earthshaker Kenras, and with...
Yeah, that's...
If there's a Dread Wanderer or a Scrappy Scrounger, I think it's good enough that you play that over Shock right now.
No, sure. I understand the reasoning. I just,
Yeah. No, I get it. But the sideboard actually is mainly one-offs, 2 Invigorated Rampages, which is great.
Invigorated Rampage.
Yeah. And then the rest, there are 2 Hanweir Garrisons in the side for when you're not coming up against a Wrath, which I feel like is only when you're in an aggro mirror, to be honest.
Yeah. There's probably some matchups where you bring that in.
And then the rest are one-offs of cards already in the deck if you need to add a Thought-Knot Seer or whatever. But I love mono red, and this is a really explosive but not overpowered one, I would say. And cards like Eldrazi Obligator, Earthshaker Kenra, Arncrop Crasher, they make cards obsolete.
Yeah.
They make them not matter.
Yeah.
And that's really, really powerful. So those are the 2 that I wanted to look at from the standard open.
Yeah, that deck sounds spicy. I like the sound of that.
I look forward to playing with that. At the Star City Games Cincinnati Classic, First place went to Esper Agro, piloted by Jacob Tilk. Congratulations.
Well done, Jacob.
It's very good.
You get a smaller round of applause for that. It's a one-day event.
It was a one-person round of applause.
That's the sound of one man clap.
Yeah. So this one is slightly closer to decks we've already seen.
Mm.
It's an Esper aggro deck rather than an Azorius aggro deck. It doesn't run a Ketra's Monument. It's not that deck. That deck did relatively well. It did post good results, so I'm happy about that, I guess.
It's a good deck.
But in terms of creature lists, it's generally what we've seen. It's Metallic Mimic, Scrapheap Scrounger, Glorybound Initiate, Spell Queller, Inspector, Exemplar, Avacyn. Then Gideon's, Heart of Kiran's, Fatal Pushes, and Anguished Unmaking.
So what new cards are in that?
Well, what's interesting is that the black seems to be a splash, and in the main deck, it's going for 1 Anguished Unmaking and for Scrap Heap Recursion.
Okay.
Outside of that, you do have 2 Kalitas in the sideboard.
Right. Okay.
And 2 Liliana the Last Hope in the sideboard.
Okay.
And a Yeheni's Expertise in the sideboard. So there are a lot of double black cards in the sideboard, and then only 1 copy of a black card in the main deck.
How many blacks? What's the mana base like?
The mana base, if we're looking at black sources, you've got 4 Spire of Industry,
Okay.
2 Shambling Vents,
Sure.
4 Concealed Courtyards, and 2 Swamps.
Well, that's probably enough. That sounds right to me.
It's interesting though, because you are going to draw Shambling Vent at the wrong time and wish it was just a Plains, don't you think, with that deck?
Yeah, you are, definitely. I guess they must have thought the sideboard plan was good enough to... Because, I mean, bringing in Kalitas is often...
It's often backbreaking.
Amazing, yeah.
And Liliana the Last Hope similarly can just wreck your opponent.
Yeah. Liliana
if it comes
the
up
Last
against Selfless Spirits and...
Yeah.
Well,
All
actually...
that mono-red aggro deck, it's not bad against that
It's good against mono-red aggro. It's very good against Monument if you get it out early enough.
Yeah.
And then it's good against this kind of vehicles deck with Inspectors and Exemplars and Glorybound Initiate.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. It's not as inventive... No offense. You don't give a shit. But... It was worth noting because it came first, and was worth noting because this Black Splash is new to me, at least.
And how many new cards are in that deck? Was that me? I didn't...
Let me have a look. There are no new cards in this deck.
None at all?
At all.
Wow.
None.
That's bold.
Yeah, it worked.
Turn up and ignore the new set.
Yeah, right.
Just play as if it didn't come out.
But let's talk about Billy Klopf, who came first.
Billy Klopp.
Fourth. Klopf.
Good
Came
name.
4th at this event with Blue-Red Prowess.
Okay, so this is, I'm imagining blue-red prowess. That can only mean one thing.
What does it mean?
It means little dudes and pump spells, right?
That's what the deck does.
It's only guesses 2 things, but scratch that from the record.
It's only got 8 creatures in it.
Ooh, that's risky.
Yeah, 4 copies of 2 creatures. So do you have any guesses?
Storm Chaser Mage, surely.
4 Storm Chaser Mage, correct, and 4 of a card we've already seen in the mono-red aggro. 4 Soulscar Mage.
Okay.
That card's turning up, which is interesting.
And several Wandering Fumaroles as well.
Yes, there's 4 Wandering Fumaroles in here, yeah. If we're talking about spells, there are 2 cards in here that really, really surprise me, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Okay.
So we have 4 Fevered Visions.
Yeah, obviously.
Sure. 2 Abrades, 4 Shocks, 2 Unsummons, 4 Incendiary Flow, and 2 Insults.
Nice.
You can imagine comboing those off with Soulscar Mages and Storm Chaser Mages becomes a bit ridiculous.
You just go, even if you've just got a Storm Chaser out, if you go turn 5, some kind of pump spell or some kind of burn spell into Insult, that's so much damage.
That's so much damage, it's not even worth.
Rather the other way round, but still. You know what I mean?
Yeah. However, there are 4 of 2 copies of cards. I'll give you £1,000,000 if you guess what either of them are.
I don't know.
The first costs 1 red for a sorcery. Crash Through.
I don't even know what that does. Oh wait, is that the one that gives everyone trample and draw a card?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's taking the place of
something like Slip Through Space.
Yeah, Slip Through Space, and the one that gave people haste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Expedite. Yeah, so a similar sort of role.
But this deals. You can see why, because if you combo off and you've got the insult left, and all you need to do is damage. Give all your creatures trample.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter if they can block, trample over, it replaces itself with a card, it gives you a prowess trigger. It's cool, right?
It has cycling without cycling. And
yeah.
I think I've just realised about Insult to Injury as well, is that's 2 prowess triggers in 1 card.
Yes.
So even if you can't do it on the same turn, you can still get your prowess trigger in with it.
It's a lot of value, yeah.
Yeah.
There are 4 riddle forms in this deck.
What?
This deck finished 4th.
4 riddle forms?
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
You know what it does?
I know what it does.
It costs 2 and a blue
Yeah.
for an enchantment.
Is it 2 and a blue?
1 and a blue, I'm sorry. 1 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may have Riddle form become a 3/3 Sphinx creature with flying in addition to its other types until end of turn. You can pay 2 and a blue to scry 1.
I mean, is Riddle form in this deck not just like a poor man's Smuggler's Copter?
I was just about to say, those are the same stats. It doesn't loop, but it's the same
But
stats.
it can scry. And it doesn't die to sorcery speed removal as well.
Yeah, it doesn't die to Wrath. Really?
It does die to Fatal Push though.
It dies to it dies to a Revolted Fatal Push. It dies to...
It doesn't need to be revolted. It's got converted mana cost 2.
Oh yeah, why do I've just forgotten that twice in 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, but still, clearly it worked. I can see it working. Yeah.
It doesn't die to Hour of Devastation.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't die to
cool, actually,
Kozilek's Return. It doesn't die to a lot of stuff.
Doesn't die to any of the board wipes.
No.
Hour
of Revelation would kill it, but no one's running that.
No one's running it, yeah. Sounds
So
good.
it's cool, right? And then
Yeah.
you've got a bunch of Sweltering Suns, a Jace's defeated, some Dispel, some Negates, 2 refuses. Refuse to cooperate.
This is the blue-red.
In the side, in the prowess deck. The
I wonder what you bring that in against.
Ulamog for the win, I guess. You just hope to get them down to 10, and then they cast Ulamog, you go, fine, but you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, what does the blue side copy the spell?
Yeah, again, it's 2 prowess triggers in 1 card, and it's an instant that lets you dual cast something, copy an instant or sorcery.
Yeah, it has to be an instant or sorcery. You can't just because you can't copy a creature.
No.
If you could copy your opponent's Ulamog, that would be hilarious. But
Oh, and 3 Chandra Torch of Defiance in the main deck as well.
yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Chandra comes out, starts burning, and
The additional thing, I think, what Chandra does in this deck, I think the +1 add 2 red mana will be particularly good here because it lets you cast an extra spell.
or
Get
two
an
if
extra
you're lucky.
prowess trigger, exactly, you know. On turn 5, you can cast Insult and Injury. And have a mana left over for Shock.
Yeah, and the same can be said just for the other +1, the exile a card, because with this kind of deck, because I've played with similar decks to this before, you're always just wanting to draw anything but lands, because you know, a spell makes your creature bigger, or a creature makes your spells better.
Yeah.
So you just want to be digging for them as quickly as you can, using cheap cards to get the cards you need, and in the process make your dudes bigger.
Yeah. No room for deserts in either of the classic tournament
I think that's
decks.
fair with this blue-red one, because if you're running...
There's no space. It's running Highland Lakes. That's how tight it is on mana.
Yeah. You can't mess around with mana bases for decks like that. You have to just... Because presumably not that many lands in there.
Which makes me lean towards these mono-red decks, because they're not mono-red. They're red colourless decks, you know? They are playing 2 colours of mana, and they're doing so in a way where there's no drawback. The colourless lands they're playing are Ramanat Ruins, which is brilliant, and then Sunscorched Desert, which is value, and it combos well with Ramanat Ruins.
Yeah, it does what you want to be doing as well.
So that's
none
the deck.
None of the cycling lands turning up so far.
Oh, they're turning out. They're around.
Okay, sure.
There are a few irrigated farmlands in the Esper Aggro deck. I'm sure they're
No,
there.
I meant the new ones, the monocoloured ones.
Oh no, none of them. The deserts, no.
Because they come in tapped, so I guess that mono red deck doesn't. It can't have that many tap lands.
No, Sunscorched Desert's better for that.
Yeah.
Taps are colourless. So it's been a good weekend, and I think
it looks interesting.
the metagame looks pretty open. There's still room to innovate, and we still don't know what the best deck is.
Yeah, and
Timor Energy didn't post that well, didn't win any of these tournaments.
Yeah, it doesn't mean the deck's bad. I think a lot of the decks that were good will still be good as well. So this is pretty much all of those decks will get something new from this set. So yeah, it'll be interesting whether we get some old contenders sort of emerging from the crawling out. Oh,
Submerge.
Yeah, that was a deliberate joke. 100% genuine off the cuff.
Well done.
But yeah, I mean, fair. Turn up with some Elder Deep Fiends.
Yeah.
Just if you've got them, just turn up at your next standard event with a playset of Elder Deep Fiend and.
Well, there was a 4-colour Emerge deck that came 4th.
Yeah,
I believe at the Open. Yeah, which is a sort of dredgy emergy deck. That was 4 Elder Deep Fiends, 4 Champion of Wits in that deck.
Tell me briefly about Champion of Wits, because I haven't been following Standard very much, and you're saying it's made a big impact. What's it being run in?
Champion of Wits costs 2 and a blue for a 2/1 Naga Wizard. When Champion of Wits enters the battlefield, you may draw cards equal to its power. If you do, discard 2 cards, and it eternalizes for 5 and 2 blue. Obviously, when it eternalizes, it's a 4/4.
So it's 2 and a blue to cast, or 1 and a blue?
1 and a...
1 and a blue, okay.
2 and a blue to cast.
2 and a blue for a 2/1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would be crazy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So obviously, when you eternalize it, you draw 4 and discard 2.
Yeah.
It's It's there because it
seems good.
People are talking about playing it in a lot of formats at the moment because the ability to faithless looting essentially is what you're doing, or careful study, I think is one. I know Magic. Attached to a body is just great. It's in reanimated decks. It's It's in dredgy decks. It's in emergy decks. It's in delirium decks.
Soultide Delirium. Yeah.
It has a lot of applications, and I think we will see a lot of it. And I think that's list one. Magma Spray's enemy number one has changed from Scrap Heap Scrounger to Champion of Wits, in my opinion.
While you've been talking about Champion of Wits, in my head, I've just done this thing that I always do of coming up with like the weirdest situation to use this in.
Go on.
What about if you're playing Grixis Vampires and you
you suck.
And you use Champion of Wits?
It's a wizard. It's a Naga wizard.
Grixis Vampires, though.
Are we ending this on that?
I think we should end it on that. Let us know what you think of these decks. I mean, if you've got any spicy brews, feel free to pop some ideas down in the
I love
comments.
a spicy brew.
If we start getting people submitting some spicy brews, we can talk about, the viewers' spicy brews. And, picking them apart as ruthlessly as we've picked apart these decks today. So, give the channel a subscribe if you haven't already. For those who have, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Give the video a like, share it with your friends, share it with your gran. And we're on Twitter. We're at Thriving Scrubs. The other thing is we will shortly be available on iTunes as well.
Yeah, working on it.
Yeah, we've just launched a podcast. It can be viewed on this channel, but if you want to download it onto your phone, if, like me, you're commuting back and forth from work or whatever it is you do with your day, it could be anything. If you're going somewhere and you need something to listen to, we'll be giving you some stuff to listen to every week. Ish, maybe.
No, let's commit to that.
Some weeks.
All the weeks.
Every week.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Good luck. Have fun.